Don't get fooled. 5 signs you're dealing with an evil person. In the intricate tapestry of human existence, we often find ourselves navigating a complex web of relationships, encounters, and interactions. Amidst this journey, we inevitably cross paths with individuals who embody various shades of morality, from the benevolent to the malevolent. Today, we embark on a profound exploration of a topic that touches the very core of our human experience: how to recognize the signs that we may be dealing with an evil person. As we delve into this subject, I implore you to approach it with an open mind and a discerning heart. For in understanding the nature of evil, we not only protect ourselves, but also gain deeper insights into the human condition and our own capacity for both light and darkness. Let us begin by acknowledging that the concept of evil is not a simple binary. It exists on a spectrum, and its manifestations can be subtle and insidious. The person we label as evil may not appear as a cartoonish villain twirling a mustache, but rather as someone who, through their actions and intentions, consistently brings harm and suffering to others. The first sign that we may be dealing with an evil person is a profound lack of empathy. Empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of another, is a cornerstone of human connection and morality. Its absence can be a telling indicator of a malevolent nature. But how does this lack of empathy manifest? Observe closely how the person in question reacts to the suffering of others. Do they show genuine concern, or do they remain indifferent? Even more revealing, do they seem to derive pleasure from others' pain? This sadistic tendency, however subtle, is a red flag that should not be ignored. Consider also how they respond when confronted with the consequences of their actions. A person lacking empathy may show no remorse for harm they've caused, instead deflecting blame or rationalizing their behavior. They may even go so far as to gaslight their victims, making them question their own perceptions and experiences. But we must be cautious in our judgments. A momentary lapse in empathy does not necessarily indicate an evil nature. We all have moments of selfishness or insensitivity. The key lies in observing patterns of behavior over time. Does this person consistently disregard the feelings and well-being of others? Do they habitually manipulate and exploit those around them for personal gain? As we ponder these questions, we must also turn our gaze inward. How often do we truly empathize with others? Are there times when we, too, have been indifferent to suffering? By examining our own capacity for empathy, we not only become better at recognizing its absence in others, but also cultivate it more deeply within ourselves. This introspection leads us to a profound question. Is evil simply the absence of good, or is it an active force in its own right? Ancient philosophers and theologians have grappled with this question for millennia. Some argue that evil is merely the lack of goodness, much as darkness is the absence of light. Others contend that evil is a positive force, actively working against the good. As we contemplate this, consider how the seemingly evil person in your life operates. Do they simply fail to do good, or do they actively seek to cause harm? The answer to this question can provide valuable insights into the nature of the individual and the potential threat they pose. The second sign that we may be dealing with an evil person is a pattern of manipulation and deceit. Truth, in its purest form, is the foundation of trust and genuine human connection. Those who consistently distort or disregard the truth demonstrate a fundamental disrespect for others and a willingness to prioritize their own interests above all else. Pay close attention to how the person in question relates to the truth. Do they frequently lie, even about small, inconsequential matters? Do they manipulate facts to suit their narrative or to avoid taking responsibility for their actions? Are they skilled at telling half-truths, omitting crucial information to paint themselves in a better light? More insidiously, observe how they react when their deceptions are exposed. A truly malevolent individual may double down on their lies, attacking the credibility of those who challenge them. They may employ sophisticated gaslighting techniques, causing others to doubt their own perceptions and memories. But again, we must approach this with nuance. We all, at times, bend the truth or present ourselves in the best possible light. The key is to look for consistent patterns of deliberate deception and manipulation, especially when such actions cause harm to others. As we reflect on this, we must also examine our own relationship with truth. How often do we engage in white lies or omissions? At what point does a harmless fib cross the line into harmful deception? By grappling with these questions, we not only sharpen our ability to detect deceit in others, but also cultivate greater honesty and integrity in our own lives. This brings us to a deeper philosophical question. What is the nature of truth itself? Is there an absolute, objective truth, or is all truth subjective and relative? How does our understanding of truth influence our ability to recognize and confront evil? As we ponder these profound questions, we must also consider the practical implications of dealing with a manipulative and deceitful individual. How do we protect ourselves from their machinations? How do we maintain our own integrity in the face of constant deception? One approach is to cultivate a strong sense of self and an unwavering commitment to our own values. By staying grounded in our own truth, we become less susceptible to manipulation and gaslighting. We can also develop the courage to confront lies and deception, not with anger or accusation, but with a calm insistence on honesty and accountability. Yet as we strive to recognize and protect ourselves from evil, we must be cautious not to become paranoid or overly cynical. The world is not neatly divided into good and evil people. Most individuals exist in shades of gray, capable of both kindness and cruelty, honesty and deception. Our challenge, then, is to navigate this complex landscape with wisdom and discernment. We must learn to recognize the signs of true malevolence without losing our capacity for trust and openness. We must protect ourselves without closing our hearts to the possibility of genuine connection and redemption. As we conclude this first part of our exploration, I leave you with a question to ponder. How can you cultivate greater discernment in your interactions with others without becoming jaded or cynical? How can you maintain your own integrity and empathy while protecting yourself from those who might seek to exploit or harm you? Remember, the goal is not to see evil everywhere, but to develop the wisdom to recognize it when it truly manifests, and the strength to confront it with compassion and integrity. As we move forward in our exploration, let us carry these insights with us, using them to navigate the complex terrain of human relationships with greater awareness and understanding. The puppeteer's shadow, unraveling the web of toxic control. As we delve deeper into the labyrinth of human malevolence, we encounter our third sign, an insatiable hunger for control. This manifestation of evil is perhaps the most insidious, for it often masquerades as care or protection. Yet, at its core, it is a violation of the fundamental human right to autonomy and self-determination. Consider the individuals in your life who seem to have an excessive need to dictate the actions, thoughts, and even emotions of others. They may present themselves as mentors, guardians, or even saviors, but their true motivation is not the well-being of others, but the intoxicating rush of power that comes from domination. This control can take many forms. It might be overt, through intimidation or threats. More often, however, it is subtle and psychological. The controller may use guilt, shame, or emotional manipulation to bend others to their will. They might isolate their victims from friends and family, slowly eroding their support systems and sense of self. But why does the evil person crave control so desperately? Perhaps it stems from a deep-seated insecurity, a fear of their own vulnerability. By controlling others, they create an illusion of invulnerability, a fortress against their own inner demons. As we contemplate this, we must also look inward. Have there been times when we, too, have sought to control others? Have we ever used manipulation or coercion to get our way? This self-reflection is crucial, for in understanding our own capacity for control, we become better equipped to recognize and resist it in others. Yet, this raises a profound philosophical question. Where does healthy influence end and toxic control begin? In our interconnected world, we inevitably impact the lives of those around us. How do we navigate this reality without crossing the line into manipulation? I propose that the key lies in intention and respect for autonomy. Healthy influence seeks to empower others, to help them grow and make their own choices. Toxic control, on the other hand, seeks to diminish others, to make them dependent and compliant. As we move forward, let us ponder this. How can we cultivate relationships based on mutual respect and empowerment, rather than control and domination? How can we assert our own boundaries while respecting the autonomy of others? Remember, true strength lies not in controlling others, but in mastering ourselves. By developing our own inner stability and self-assurance, we become less susceptible to the manipulations of others and less likely to seek control over them. In recognizing and resisting the toxic control of evil individuals, we not only protect ourselves, but also affirm the inherent dignity and freedom of all human beings. Let us move forward with this wisdom, ever vigilant against the subtle tendrils of manipulation, yet ever open to the possibility of genuine, empowering connection. The voids whisper, echoes of conscience in the abyss of malevolence. As we venture further into the shadows of human nature, we encounter our fourth sign, a chilling absence of remorse or guilt. This void where conscience should reside is perhaps the most unsettling indicator of true malevolence, for it speaks to a fundamental disconnect from the shared moral fabric that binds humanity together. Observe closely those who never seem to experience genuine regret for their harmful actions. They may offer empty apologies when cornered, but these are merely tactical maneuvers, devoid of true contrition. More tellingly, watch for those who seem to revel in the pain they cause, drawing a perverse satisfaction from the suffering of others. This absence of remorse often manifests as a stark inability to take responsibility for one's actions. The evil person will deflect blame, rationalize their behavior, or even rewrite history to cast themselves as the victim. They live in a moral vacuum where their actions, no matter how heinous, are always justified in their minds. But what causes this profound moral deficit? Is it nature or nurture? The debate rages on in psychological and philosophical circles. Some argue for a biological basis, pointing to differences in brain structure and function. Others emphasize environmental factors, citing childhood trauma or societal influences. As we ponder this, we must confront an uncomfortable truth. The capacity for evil resides within all of us. We all have moments where we fail to feel appropriate remorse, where we justify our misdeeds. The difference lies in the consistency and severity of this moral blindness. This realization leads us to a deeply unsettling question. How can we be sure of our own moral compass? How do we cultivate and maintain a healthy sense of guilt and remorse without falling into the trap of crippling shame? I propose that the key lies in developing a robust, internalized system of ethics. This moral foundation should not be based on rigid rules imposed from outside, but on a deep, personal understanding of the interconnectedness of all beings and the ripple effects of our actions. By regularly engaging in honest self-reflection and holding ourselves accountable for our missteps, we strengthen our moral muscle. We become more attuned to the subtle pangs of conscience that guide us towards right action. Yet, as we strive to recognize and protect ourselves from those lacking remorse, we must also cultivate compassion. For in many cases, this moral void is born of deep wounding and disconnection. While this does not excuse harmful behavior, understanding its roots can help us respond with wisdom rather than reactive fear or hatred. As we conclude this part of our exploration, I leave you with this to contemplate. How can you nurture your own sense of healthy remorse and accountability? How can you respond effectively to those who seem to lack conscience without losing your own moral grounding? Remember, true strength lies not in never making mistakes, but in having the courage to face them, learn from them, and make amends. In cultivating this strength within ourselves, we become better equipped to navigate a world where not all share our moral compass. The spectral dance, unmasking the chameleon of chaos. In our final descent into the depths of human malevolence, we encounter perhaps the most elusive and dangerous sign of all, the chameleon-like ability to adapt and charm. This fifth sign is a testament to the insidious nature of true evil, for it allows the malevolent individual to blend seamlessly into the fabric of society, often hiding in plain sight. Observe those who seem to effortlessly mold themselves to fit any situation, who can be whoever they need to be to achieve their ends. They are masters of social mimicry, able to read a room and become exactly what others want or need. At first glance, this adaptability might seem like a positive trait, a sign of social intelligence. But look closer, and you'll see the hollow core beneath the shifting masks. The truly evil person uses this chameleon-like nature not to foster genuine connection, but to manipulate and exploit. They may present themselves as the perfect friend, lover, or mentor, only to reveal their true nature when it's too late. They are emotional shapeshifters, able to feign empathy, remorse, or passion with chilling precision. This ability to charm and adapt is often coupled with a keen intelligence and a deep understanding of human psychology. The evil person knows exactly which buttons to push, which vulnerabilities to exploit. They are often gifted storytellers, weaving narratives that captivate and ensnare their targets. But why does this chameleon-like nature develop? Is it a conscious strategy or a subconscious adaptation to a world perceived as hostile? Perhaps it stems from a profound emptiness within, a lack of a true self that necessitates constant borrowing from others. As we contemplate this, we must also look inward. Have there been times when we, too, have worn masks, presented false faces to the world? Where is the line between healthy social adaptation and manipulative deception? This introspection leads us to a profound philosophical question. In a world of constant change and social expectations, what does it mean to have an authentic self? How do we maintain our integrity while navigating the complex social landscape of human interaction? I propose that the key lies in developing a strong sense of personal values and boundaries. By knowing who we are at our core, we can adapt to social situations without losing ourselves. We can be flexible without being false, adaptable without being manipulative. Yet, as we strive to recognize and protect ourselves from these chameleons of chaos, we must also cultivate discernment. Not all who adapt are evil, and not all who present a consistent face are good. The challenge lies in distinguishing between genuine social fluidity and manipulative shape-shifting. How, then, do we protect ourselves from these master manipulators? First, we must trust our instincts. Often, our subconscious mind picks up on subtle inconsistencies long before our conscious mind can articulate them. If something feels off, pay attention to that feeling. Second, we must look for patterns over time. The chameleon may be able to maintain a facade in the short term, but over longer periods, inconsistencies will emerge. Watch for discrepancies between words and actions, for subtle shifts in personality that don't align with the situation. Third, we must cultivate a strong support network of trusted individuals who can offer different perspectives and help us reality check our perceptions. The evil person often seeks to isolate their targets, knowing that in isolation, their manipulations are more likely to succeed. As we conclude our exploration of these 5 signs of evil, I leave you with a final question to ponder. How can you develop your own authenticity and discernment to navigate a world where not everyone shows their true face? How can you remain open and compassionate while protecting yourself from those who would exploit that openness? Remember, the goal is not to become paranoid or to see evil in every shadow. Rather, it is to develop the wisdom to recognize genuine malevolence when we encounter it, and the strength to stand firm in our own integrity when faced with it. In recognizing these signs, the lack of empathy, the pattern of deception, the hunger for control, the absence of remorse, and the chameleon-like adaptability, we arm ourselves with knowledge. But knowledge alone is not enough. We must also cultivate wisdom, compassion, and courage. Wisdom to discern the true nature of those we encounter. Compassion to understand that even those who appear evil are often acting from a place of deep wounding. And courage to stand firm in our own values and to protect ourselves and others when necessary. As we move forward, let us carry these insights with us, using them as a compass to navigate the complex terrain of human interaction. Let us strive to be beacons of authenticity and integrity in a world that often rewards deception and manipulation. And let us never forget that in recognizing the potential for evil in others, we must also acknowledge and wrestle with that same potential within ourselves. For it is only in facing our own shadows that we truly develop the strength and discernment to recognize and resist the shadows in others. In this continuous process of self-reflection and growth, we not only protect ourselves from evil, but also contribute to creating a world where genuine goodness can flourish. And so, as we conclude this exploration, I urge you to remain vigilant, but also to remain open. For in the dance between caution and trust, between protection and vulnerability, we find the true richness of human experience. May you move forward with eyes wide open, heart resilient, and spirit unbroken, ready to face whatever challenges the complex tapestry of human nature may present.